All right, finna go ahead and get it started. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ podcast. For today's episode 192, we're going to be talking about life challenges that are worth choosing. I do want to go ahead and preface this. Actually, I'm gonna do it a little bit later. Make sure to go and follow me on TikTok, Rumble, and on Twitch at Life of a Champ podcast on every single platform. As well as make sure you go ahead and tap in with my YouTube shorts as well as my YouTube clips. I'm posting more frequently now, so if you do want to catch the podcast or snippets of the podcast that I deem to be gems worth acquiring in your life, tap in with those for sure. Um, so to get it started, like I said, I want to go ahead and give a preface for this right here. So these are going to be life challenges that I deem worth choosing, right? Or things or life situations that will be the greatest test of character, right? And I don't want to make it seem like, oh yeah, I'm just talking about only what I believe in, right? This is going to be something that I've constantly observed within people who are the happiest and most fulfilled, right? So this is not necessarily going to be my fully my opinion. It is my life philosophy based off of the simple fact that there's really not a better alternative philosophy for these certain things. So of course I'm going to be talking about them. But like I said, this isn't just some kid speaking on the internet about shit that he doesn't know anything about, right? This is simply observations that anyone can make at any time in any place in the entire world, and they will come to these conclusions. But I want to put it all in the same area, right? So like I said, for the to start it off right, there's going to be certain things that bring fulfillment in one's life. There's going to be certain things in certain life situations that you can put yourself in or choose to have, right? That are going to grant you a great test of character, right? And it will allow you to develop your character in many different ways, and obviously, hopefully, many favorable ways. Because quite frankly, what's the point of developing your character, or even rather, is there even a character test that isn't going to give you a an outcome that is worth having, right? If it's building up your character, of course, it's going to give you something that's hopefully desirable, right? So I would like to start off by saying this, right? There's going to be plenty of things that the world will try to pollute within your mind, right? So these are some of the ideals that I see, like I said, consistent within a lot of people who have ideal lives on the outside looking in, inside looking out, ideal lives, right? So for the first one, this is choose a girlfriend, right? You must choose one woman. There's this narrative within society that, oh yeah, if you're a man and you're a high caliber man, you need to be able to have many women, many wives. You need to go ahead and sleep around with many different women, and that's it. That's like the highest of high of a man's life is, going around and sleeping with as much women as he possibly can, right? So, like I said, through my experience, and not only through my experience, but through my observations of other people's experiences who have also went through that period where they were sleeping around with a bunch of women, right? I've came to the conclusion that that is not a worthy test of character. Now, I do believe that there's going to be elements of it that are very very valuable that one could say this is a thing that is temporarily worth doing, right? It'll allow you to develop certain social skills, right? It'll allow you to develop your knowledge about how women work, what they like, what they don't like, right? And obviously, by going into an experience like being in a relationship with a woman, or having a just a, I would say, just a bonding moment with a woman, there is things that you can learn, and not only learn but also teach, which is very very important as well, right? You're here in any and every situation that you're in to either learn something or help somebody learn something, hopefully. So going back to what I was saying, right? Choosing a girlfriend, right? So this is one person. I'm not my paradigm of life, and like I said, a curated paradigm of life that I've observed through other people. Choose one woman, and of course, this sounds so basic, but at the end of the day, I don't see a lot of people, or I don't see enough people making this, choosing this life situation, right? And what I have found through my own personal experience, right, I have found a high quality character of a woman to call mine. This is going to allow you to have many different tests of character, maybe even some that you didn't necessarily expect, and for damn sure I didn't expect when it came to me encountering or me choosing this life challenge, right? Because it is a test of character. I'm not going to lie to you. It is definitely a test of character. So, like I said, choose a girlfriend, right? These are going to be some of the things that you will reap from choosing a girlfriend. One thing is sexual discipline, hopefully to an extent, right? So obviously, by choosing a girlfriend, you're choosing one person. And if you're a man with high testosterone, right, when choosing one woman and staying with one woman is something that is not for the weak. Especially, that's why most men don't do it. That's why most men who can sleep around with women, that's why they do it. Simply because it is much easier to be not loyal than it is to be loyal. This may, like I said, maybe I'm only speaking out of my own paradigm, but it is much easier for me to go to sleep around with a bunch of women and indulge in that experience than it is to go ahead and say, you know what, I found a woman that is of high quality character, and I want to stay with this just this woman, right? It is a much easier, and you can easily observe this within people's behaviors, right? The society's behaviors, right? Obviously, the people within society's behaviors, right? That they would much rather take the easier route as opposed to the harder route. They're going to see this time and time again in many different aspects. And I will go ahead and I'll list a few of these things on today's episode of where people would much rather choose the easier path instead of choosing the greatest test of character. Now, that is something that I've been big on. That is one of my biggest fascinations is character development. And obviously, through character development, you're going to need to have the test of character that is going to allow your new character to emerge and to, thrive, hopefully. So, like I said, right? So, the first thing with choosing a girlfriend, you're going to have that sexual discipline. Loyalty is another thing that I would deem to be a character building moment, a test of character, right? To see if you are who you say you are, or if you're aligned with what you value, right? So, being loyal, that's another test of character that you get through choosing a girlfriend, choosing one woman, right? If you're just sleeping around with a bunch of women, there's no such thing as loyalty. The only thing you're loyal to is your lust. You're only loyal to lust, and that's all it is. And quite frankly, like I said, if you're loyal to something that truly does not reap you, if you're loyal to something that truly does not reap you the benefits, the greatest benefits of life, then you've chosen the wrong thing. And that is the mistake that so many people make is they choose something and they're loyal to something that isn't necessarily loyal to them, that isn't necessarily within their best interest, which isn't something that is within their life's best interest. I'll say that much, right? So getting into the next one's going to be staying. You can't stay stagnant. Obviously, if you have a girlfriend, right, there's no such thing as being stagnant. You must, if you even think being stagnant's a good idea, and like I said, observe this within society, right? You see this within society time and time again, where people will constantly be stagnant, right? They will get into a relationship with the woman and then they remain stagnant and then wonder why that woman is losing attraction or wonder why this woman isn't necessarily responding to the way in which he acts now as opposed to the way that she acted based on when it started, right? So like I said, choosing a girlfriend is going to allow you, hopefully, like I said, men still do it time and time again, but if you're a good quality man, you'll realize very very quickly that you cannot be stagnant, right? There's just no utility in being stagnant. So that is another test because quite frankly, like I said, if you view most men that get into a relationship, they stay stagnant. They stay in that same spot. They start loosening up on their values. They stop doing the things that made them attractive, right? They stop going to the gym as much because it's more comfortable to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm just gonna lay down with my woman. It's just so much easier. I'm not gonna continue my work because quite frankly, why would I need to work? I already got my woman. I might as well just stay comfortable in bed with her. I might as well just take the day off. I might as well just not work out because I already have her, right? That is unconsciously the mindset that they have within their mind, and then their actions get manifested into the real world, and then they're wondering why the woman does not perceive him as attractive as she once did, right? So like I said, being with the woman is gonna test you in that way, right? Which is the greatest test of character. Is things that necessarily is going to give make you have an option, have a decision to go ahead and make where it says, is this worthy of choosing or is this worthy of choosing, right? I have two paths to go down. I have the comfortable path that most people take, and I have the path that most people do not take, right? All right, getting back into it, man. Okay, let's get back to it. So, like I said, right, essentially what I'm saying is this, for the main point: by being a man of character and choosing the tests of character that are going to allow your character to develop, the first way that you're going to need to go ahead and make sure that this is something worth doing is obviously evaluating the potential benefits that will come with this, right? So, like I said, the first example was choosing a girlfriend as opposed to just choosing to sleep around, right? You can't stay stagnant. You must be disciplined sexually, right? Not only disciplined within your own endeavors, but also sexually disciplined to say, you know what, this woman is tempting me right now, but quite frankly, it doesn't matter. I have a good woman at home, and it is that, right? Obviously, with that, like I said, I made the loyalty thing an interesting thing as well here. Loyalty is a thing that I would say, like I said, it is much harder to be loyal than it is to not be loyal in this day and age, right? Because quite frankly, there's not that many women that are worth being loyal to. If I'm going to be honest with you, I have met very very few women in this existence that I would say that woman is worthy to be loyal to. They're worthy for me to go ahead and defeat my temptation and defeat that battle that is an ongoing battle for damn sure. So, like I had mentioned, right? Choose a woman that is worth having and choose a girlfriend, which is going to be a greatest test of character, right? Getting into the next one. All right. Next one is this. This is one that I don't see enough people giving enough thought into, right? They're very, very superficial with this way of being, and I don't understand it at all, right? So the next life situation that will give you the greatest test of character. This is going to be choosing a career and how you go ahead and assess to make that decision, right? If you observe most people don't really give it too much thought. They kind of find themselves within a situation and they just kind of run with it. They don't give it as much thought as truly as much as they need. For I don't understand this time and time again. You're going to dedicate about 1/3 of your life to this at least, and you have not really thought it out very very thoroughly, right? You have just found your like I said, you just simply found yourself in a situation saying, you know what, I'm just gonna do this. It pays the bills, and it's just that's just what it is, right? It's just something that pays the bills. It's 1/3 of your life, but it's not something that is not thoroughly thoroughly thought out. And then it begs the question, what are you truly doing? Um, Because, like I said, it's 130. It's something that must be prioritized. It's something that must be well thought out. Because, like I said, if you're dedicating that much time into something that you truly do not care about, that does not seem like a very very smart decision. But yet, like I had mentioned, a lot of people go ahead and do it, and then it tests their characters in ways that they really don't really care for. It really just tests their stress tolerance, and quite frankly, a lot of people crack under a lot of stress, especially stress for things that they don't care about. People are going to be less likely to be, um, accepting of that test, of that stress, right? So, like I said, the thing that I would recommend is this: choose a career that is an evolving challenge that will test your stress tolerance. Not just that, of course. Also that will demand more responsibility from yourself and to remind you to be the man that you say that you are, right? So if you're able to do this, and if you're able to, like I said, somehow, some way, carefully curate the selection of job that you want, you're going to be in a much better position than most people that have ever existed ever. Like I said, people do a lot of things, and most people live ways simply just based off of just trying to make money, right? But if you dedicate enough time and thought into what you want to do, you're going to have a much more happier and more fulfilled existence than most people have, right? I can only observe this from most people that I'm around, my parents, things like that, right? They really just do shit that they don't really care about, right? And do you want to be one of these people who is doing a job, spending 1/3 of their life of something that they truly do not care about, working for a company that they really don't give a shit about at all? For me personally, that is not my life. That there's no way that is going to be my life journey, because that is what I refuse to have. And you watching this, with the many abundant of opportunities that do exist in today's society, are you going to be a person that's just going to be like the people that I have mentioned, the average person who doesn't really put enough time and thought into the job selection that they go ahead and choose, and like I said, just finds himself in a situation where you have the most opportunity that any human has ever had when it comes to choosing a career path? Why would you choose something that is so simple, that is so dumb, that is so not you? So choose something that is going to be an evolving challenge. Choose something that's going to demand more responsibility for yourself. And choose something, more importantly, that is going to give you the greatest test of character. Because quite frankly, like I said, what is your alternative? Your alternative is to choose something that you don't really care for. So at least choose something that's going to be somewhat better, more customized for you and your life. And like I said, you can make a career out of a lot of things. You see a lot of people making careers out of things that most people don't give a shit about, and they still end up making a good amount of money. So like I said, why can't that be you? Figure out what that is for yourself. And my biggest advice to this is do not choose a career simply because it gives you a lot of money. That's not a good way to choose a career. That's not a good way to make any decision. Because, like I said, look at the people who do things just for money. I'm sure you can name a few of people who do things, compromise their morals and values to go ahead and get a quick buck, right? Don't be like those people. It's almost the same thing. And of course, everybody knows. I know that everybody needs to live. Everybody needs money. Everybody needs to figure something out, right? Everybody has bills to pay. I understand this very, very thoroughly, but here's the thing. For you to not be taking action on things and making a sound career decision, you're forcing yourself into a position that's going to be less than ideal. And here's the thing. You're going to be dealing with you're going to be dealing with future problems that maybe you never have accounted for. Maybe even considering whether you even want to do this at all. Maybe considering that, you might find yourself in a situation where you have to do it. That's the thing. And of course, here's the thing: you might have to do it for a temporary amount of time. But here's the thing: if you give enough thought to it, maybe it won't be permanent at least, right? So yes, that is going to be my next thing that I go ahead and recommend, right? For giving you a great test of character, you must choose a career that's going to be ever evolving. Getting into the next one, an obvious one that I still don't see enough people doing, right? A great test of character is going to look like in the form of adopting a physical endeavor that is going to strengthen your mind and body, right? For whatever reason, in today's society, you don't see enough people talking about choosing a physical endeavor that is truly going to give you a favorable outcome within your own mind, within your own biochemistry, and obviously within your own body, right? That is something, like I said, it could be anything, man. You just get outside, move around, do something. Whether it's lifting weights, whether it's playing basketball, whether it's playing tennis, playing golf. Just get out there, man. Just do something. Do something that's going to be physical, right? There's so many people that are unhappy, and partially because they live a very sedentary lifestyle. They don't really do too much. They kind of have this routine. They stay comfortable in their own house. They never take on any physical challenges. And then if a physical challenge like running up a flight of stairs makes you exhausted, that's pretty fucking weak. That's pretty weak in my opinion, brother. Here's the thing. If you're a person that is competent physically, there's all the perks of life that will come with that, right? Like I said, not only within the body but within the mind. So you must be a person that chooses like I said, it could literally be anything, right? Choose to adopt a physical endeavor. Like I said, you could do working out. That's a common one. That's a lot of people, not enough people do, but a lot of people do, right? That's something that I do, something that I found great utility from, something that only benefits me, and something that you can truly see results a lot quicker than you can by doing something else. That's for sure. So, adopt a physical endeavor, and that is going to be a great test of character, right? You're going to be able to put yourself in a situation that says, man, I kind of don't want to do this, but guess what? I'm going to do it anyways, and let's see the character that can come from this. Let's see how this is going to develop my self-discipline. Let's see how this is going to develop my own willpower to live, to do things that I maybe don't want to do. That is where the character comes in. That is where the great character can be tested, and that is where you can prevail. And I always say to myself, imagine the type of person that I would be if I were to get over this, if I were to accomplish this, if I were to lift this up, if I were to go ahead and physically physically become active in any type of way, right? So choose a physical endeavor that is worth having, because quite frankly, like I mentioned, there's not a smarter thing you can do. There is, but there's really not for sure. Because like I said, you look at the people, man. People that don't choose it, let's just say they get everything else in their life right, everything else, but yet they do not have a physical endeavor. They're either very very skinny or very fat. You can have everything else in line, but yeah, but if you have this one aspect lacking, you are going to fill it. You are going to live less. You're literally going to be able to enjoy life less, right? Your quality of life is not going to be as high, and your length of your life is not going to be as long based off of your inability to adopt a physical endeavor, to develop that side of your character. It is absolutely essential, and like I had mentioned, right, not only through my own personal philosophy, but through the philosophy of the people who people admire, right? Observe those people, right? When a person is well-rounded and a well-complete person, that is usually one of the things that they have taken serious is their physical health. So you have no other choice, man. Find something. It could be literally anything. It could be flying a damn kite and running around, brother. It could be, I don't know, man. Just do something outside. Do something physical, man. So getting into the next one, another thing that would test the character that you are, and for sure test the character that you potentially would like to be. This is going to be actively pursuing creative endeavors. So I'm like I said, I'm not going to give you one thing for sure, right? This could be many different things, but choose something or choose a few things that you can truly find enjoyment within. Because quite frankly, a life without creative endeavors, what kind of life is that? You're a life that let me tell you what life that is. To me personally, a life that lacks creative endeavors is a life that is very, very boring. That is a life filled with consumption, which a life filled with things that are truly not you. If I'm going to be honest with you, it is something that you can. It is a lifestyle where you choose things that are external, right? So like people find affinity with a lot of different things that truly aren't even them, but yet they claim them, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it fully, right? People like for example, right? I'm not gonna say I'm not a sports fan. I am a sports fan, but let's just say most sports fans they don't really have any creative endeavors. I'm just calling it what it is. So therefore, they resonate their own sense of self worth, right? They resonate their own personality. They associate with a thing, a sports team that doesn't even know who the fuck they are, and it's as simple as that, right? So you must actively pursue creative endeavors that, like I said, are going to give you enjoyment and that are actually you. Maybe it's painting. Maybe when you were a kid, right? Maybe you enjoyed painting, right? Maybe that's something that you kind of got away from. But when you did it, you were very, very present. You allowed yourself to go ahead and express certain sides of yourself that maybe you've kind of gotten away from, right? Or it could be many different things. And maybe when I say that example, maybe something else pops in within your head, right? But actively choosing to pursue creative endeavors is going to give you the most is going to be another element of what gives you fulfillment in this life. Like I said, the people that lack it, look at the result of people that lack a creative endeavor. In my opinion, they're just a little bit off. They could be doing something that maybe that's like I said, more them as opposed to just building their identity around things that truly aren't them. Right? Let me see if I can give you some more examples. Right? Maybe it's taking up a new skill, right? Or maybe it's for a creative endeavor. This could be something like I said. What do you want to create, man? Simple as that, right? What do you feel like creating? What is something that you've always thought about creating that you haven't created yet, or maybe better yet, you haven't seen anybody else create for sure. So figure that out. What do you want to create? What do you want to bring within this life? What is an idea that you've had that you want to manifest into the real world? You take it from the 2D to 3D, right? I have found the most enjoyment within my life by doing and pursuing things that are of the a creative endeavor, right? Growing up, I didn't necessarily associate myself with being the most creative person because, well, first I didn't know what to create, and also my identity was associated with something else that wasn't really a creator. But I do believe everybody's a creator, right? Unfortunately, most okay, I feel like everybody's a creator to a certain extent. That everybody truly wants to create something because here's the thing: you're either creating something or you're consuming something that other people have created, right? For the most part, the only thing that most people create is problems for themselves and children, right? If you're able to create something outside of problems for yourselves or a child, you're going to be living a better existence for sure, right? So choose to create something because, like I said, in a world where only creations exist, be one of the people that creates something that other people can enjoy, or better yet, create something that you enjoy. Fuck it, that just you enjoy. You could do that as well, but like I said, be a creator instead of a person who just consumes. Because the people that just consume, they're a little bit off, in my opinion, of course. Getting to the next one. Hold up, give me a second. If you have any comments or questions regarding today's episode, go ahead and let me know for sure. All right. Give me 1 second. All right, getting into the next thing, right? If I've left out anything that you deem to be essential to the fulfillment of one's life, let me know in the comments for sure. So I had thought about this for a minute. You must continue to defeat your life's you must continue to defeat your life's obstacles. Everybody in this life has obstacles that not only have that they have chosen consciously, but things that they have never accounted for. It could never even imagine happening to them, but yet life throws you another obstacle, right? By you taking on these challenges that I've said above, it is going to prepare you. You're going to be much more well equipped when it comes to dealing with problems as opposed to not doing any of those things that I had mentioned. And now you have life obstacles, right? If you were able to develop your character in the areas of life that I had already had mentioned, right? You have tests of character that you've proven to yourself that you can come out on the other end, right? But here's the thing, if you lack those, your confidence in enduring a struggle or enduring a life challenge is going to be less than what it could be. So, like I said, you must actively kind of take on certain life challenges head on initially, or rather consciously. So, when life actually gets hard, when challenges actually happen, you might actually stand a chance. You might actually be able to come on the other end. You might actually have a more ideal outcome as opposed to just like I said, just getting thrown into the fire and then struggling to deal with it for sure. Because we all know life's challenges and life's tests won't be easy, but the path that you put yourself on consciously, like I mentioned, through your chosen challenges, they should prepare you to hopefully be a good character in the world and to be able to act as if you're a good character in the world when this world is very, very chaotic. Because like I said, what is your other alternative, right? I kind of already kind of laid that out for you. If you choose the alternative, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of that, right? Being put in a situation that maybe you're not ready for, and like I said, maybe you don't have any proven challenges. Maybe you don't have any proven tests to yourself that say I can endure this. And that is what I feel with most people, right? If they neglect the things that I have mentioned above, that I had mentioned before, right? If they neglect these things, when life really gets hard, they really have no faith. They lose faith. They get anxious. They get depressed. They lose because they don't have a clear blueprint. They don't have a clear structure that allows them to fall back on. So therefore, they get overwhelmed. They get overwhelmed way easier than a person who has these things, who's also tested their character through these ways, these proper tests of character. At least those people who've had a lot of time to go ahead and test their character, at least they know exactly who they are. A lot of those people who, when life gets hard, they have no idea what to do. They don't really know who they are. If anything, they know who they're not. That's for damn sure. And they're way more familiar with who they're not and who they don't want to be, as opposed to knowing who they want to be. And time again, I see a trend of people rejecting some of these things, right? Some of these life challenges that I deem to be the most essential for life fulfillment. They've kind of convinced themselves and conditioned themselves that their life philosophy without these things is more sound. But they are neglecting things that truly have evidence within the world that would suggest that they've worked. And not only have they worked for right now, but they've worked for majority of the past. Like I said, if you here's the thing, there's going to be certain, let's just say, there's going to be certain traditions within the world, right? Certain ways in which things have been done throughout the world. And if you have an alternate idea that would suggest that that is maybe not as optimal or maybe not as good, right? Your reasoning must be sound because you're neglecting what has worked, what has proven to you that has potentially worked. And like I said, if you have something that you believe to be more optimal, you better have a very very sound reasoning for why. Because like I said, if it truly ain't broke, man, you really don't have to fix things that aren't broken. That's for damn sure. So like I said, so some of these basic things of life that I would deem to be basic things of life, people are saying I don't need that. I can live without that. Right? Another good example of this that I think is one of the most delusional things that I've seen anyone, literally anyone, do is this. They'll say this modern day they'll be like I don't want to have kids, man. Not having kids is one of the most interesting decisions. Like I said, unless you can't have kids, that's a whole nother thing, right? But actually being able to have kids and then choosing to not have kids in this world is one of the most interesting decisions that one could make. You are not thinking long term. You're simply thinking for yourself and right now, right? They're rejecting a thing. They're rejecting a life challenge because having a child truly is a life challenge. They're rejecting a life challenge that most people would deem to bring them fulfillment. Obviously, with that, it's going to give you the highest of highs. Having a child is going to give you the highest of highs that life can provide. It is also going to give you the lowest of the lows that life's experience can provide. But at the end of the day, that is what the life experience is about. That is what the human experience is about. It is about enduring the lows and enjoying the highs that life can provide, right? But to be convinced that you have a better life philosophy that is more sound than what has worked, you must have a lot of evidence that would suggest that that decision is better, hopefully. And like I had mentioned, right, a lot of the people who defy the things that I had mentioned, you look at the decision that they make, their alternate decision that would suggest that the one that is traditionally worked is wrong. They're not as happy, they're not as fulfilled, and they're not as well thought out long term, right? So, like for example, the example that I used earlier, right? You refusing to not have kids, right? You are saying, I do not want anybody to take care of me when I'm old. That is what you're saying. Because if you don't have kids, who the hell is going to take care of you when you're old, man? If you don't care, that's one thing. But if you do care about somebody, potentially somebody you care about, somebody you really, really love, right? Maybe somebody that you even love the most, potentially taking care of you, then that's an interesting decision. At the very least, an interesting decision, right? Like I said, I would make that decision myself personally, right? There's a lot of things like I mentioned, right? Okay, let's just say another one, right? I'll give you another example, right? People choosing to not want um a physical endeavor, right? You're basically saying that a sedentary lifestyle is better. You're not actively thinking like this, but your actions are suggesting this, right? A sedentary lifestyle is better. I don't need to physically challenge myself because life is easy. And then you get overweight, and then your health starts to decline, and then you live a shorter life, and then the ending of the years of your life that could have been longer, they're not as quality as they could have been, right? So, like I said, so these alternate ways of being, right? These alternate ways that people truly have not thought out, and maybe this is a newfound thing that you can do in today's society because society is easy. It is the most comfortable time to be alive, right? Natural selection is no longer a real thing, right? Survival of the fittest is no longer a real thing, unfortunately. And with that being said, you see people choosing alternate things that just truly do not work. They are truly sadly mistaken. And they don't understand the utility in learning a lesson that has been presented to you that you could have chosen, that you've seen through the observations of other people. And one thing that I've noticed thoroughly if you try to explain this to somebody, but this is going to go for most people, I would say. Most people are truly not open minded, right? For the most part, most people don't like to hear or consider things that will challenge their worldview. Most people are very resistant to this, and instead of being curious to see if what they believe is actually true, right? And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, right? What I base my life off of, and this is what I would recommend for anyone watching this to go ahead and base your life off of. When you make a decision, or when you have something that you want to live by, you must measure that to everybody else's opinion, to everybody else, from the observations of yourself, right? Through everybody else's observations of them and the world, right? Observe everything before you say, I want this to be the truth that I live by. Because here's the thing. If you are saying that, you know what, everybody else is wrong and I'm right, you must have it very, very well thought out. You must have had, I don't know, like I said, you at least must have had thought it out more times than most people have at that point. If you're ever gonna make that decision, and like I said, if it has holes in it, then you might be wrong. But going back to what I was saying, right? People do not want their worldview challenged. They're very, very resistant to this. For me, for example, like I said, with being a person that truly can have critical thought on a lot of things, right? Truly analyzes everybody. At least try my damn best to observe everybody, to make, like I said, to truly figure out what is worth living by and what is not. You have to weigh it up closer to the truth. What is the objective truth? What is what most people desire or value, right? Either, verbally or non-verbally. What do most people desire? What does that exactly look like, right? What are the values that the person that everybody would want to be, kinda, would look like, right? And then from there you can say, okay, this is closer to the truth, so I would much rather live by this than to live by this. For example, right? Let's just say being a person who tells the truth, right? Being an honest person, right? Most people are not as honest as they could be. That's just being real with it, right? I try, and I truly try my hardest to be as honest as I possibly can, to the point where I'll probably be a little too honest for my own good, right? But at the end of the day, at least you know I'm being authentic, you know I'm being genuine, and you know I'm never gonna lie to you, which I believe is essential to a good quality character, right? That admits that all these things, right, all the drawbacks that can come from from telling the truth, because quite frankly there is, right? It's much easier to lie and, get your way, kind of defy reality and get your way, get a favorable way, than it is to just tell the truth and live with the consequences, right? Telling the truth isn't always advantageous to the present moment. It truly is not. I'll be honest with you, and everyone truly knows this, right? Telling the truth, there's certain situations where you truly can tell a lie, and it's gonna work out just fine for you. But then you have to just deal with the karma of that, right? I'm not trying to deal with that karma. I'm trying to just tell the truth and live with the result, man. Because quite frankly, if I lie and I know I lie, I know I did something wrong, and if I did something wrong, I know that life's gonna come kicking my ass for that. So quite frankly, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try my best to not, right? With that being said, like I said, you must evaluate what you believe in. You must evaluate what you truly value or what you say you value, and how close is that to the actual truth. The truth being what most people want to be like. If they were being honest with themselves, they would much rather desire a life like this. If they had to go back and start from square one and basically say, okay, you can create your entire life ideally the way that you would want, how would you want to have it set up? Right? If they were being honest, and I would say that is probably closest to the truth, right? So, for example, right, people probably wouldn't choose to be overweight. They'd probably choose to be in fucking great shape, right? So, objectively, that is the truth, right? The truth being living by principles and values that would suggest a healthy lifestyle, working out, eating right, right? That is the objective truth of what you should do based off of what people value, right? It doesn't matter if you're fat. It doesn't matter if you're in good health, right? The objective truth is everybody, for the most part, if they had to go ahead and start life again, They would say I would much rather want to be healthy and in shape. So therefore, that is closer to the truth, right? So obviously, that is just one example, right? But for every single aspect of life, when you evaluate what to live by and what to value, that is how you should evaluate that. That is how you should calibrate your value system based off of, like I said, what is closer to the truth. But getting back on topic, man, I know I kind of got off on a little tangent. You must choose life situations and things within life that are truly going to give you the test of character that is going to help you develop so you're ready for any and every life challenge that will be thrown at you by taking on, like I had mentioned, life situations that are going to challenge you. Choosing to be loyal, choosing one woman, right? Choosing a career that is an evolving challenge instead of just doing the same thing for 30 years. Adopting a physical endeavor, right? Adopting a physical um, discipline that is going to help develop your mind and body, right? Developing and choosing a test of character that would be a creative endeavor, right? Where it's going to help you, it's going to help develop your mind in that specific way. That is going to test your character. That is going to allow you to expand on that side of your character through a test. Through a test saying, okay, you need to develop this thing. Okay. How would I develop this thing? What character would it be if I did develop this thing, right? That is what I deem to be essential, right? But like I had mentioned, right, if the more obstacles you put within your life, right, and the obstacles in the form of great character tests, right, the better off you're going to be when it comes to just dealing with the harsh shit of life. When it gets down to it, there's going to be plenty of things that life will throw at you that you're truly not necessarily were intending to happen. But the better you are at consciously taking on challenge, constantly taking on struggle, constantly embracing character evolving moments, the better you're going to be and the much more well equipped you're going to be when it comes to handling that situation. And like I said, what is the alternative? The alternative is to really not be choosing anything and really not developing your character. And then you got to live with the consequences of that, of having a not developed character. And then when you get into situations, you're still going to have to develop your character. But quite frankly, these tests were not optional. Give yourself some optional challenges, and you're going to be in a much better position. Take on things that people value. Take on challenges that are going to allow you to develop your character based off of what you value, and not only what you value, but what is also closer to the truth. And that's just what it comes down to, man. That's pretty much all I have to say for today's episode. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for today's episode. If you have any questions or if there's something that I said that you had enjoyed, I want you to go ahead and leave in the comments for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for today's episode. This was episode 192 of the Life of a Champ podcast, talking about choosing pathways in life, choosing tests of character um, that are going to be your greatest option, that are going to be among the greatest options that you can have within this life. So, a few things I want to say before I end it off. Make sure you go and follow me on TikTok and on Rumble and on Twitch at Life of a Champ podcast on every single platform. And also tap in with my next live stream that's going to be on Monday. I'm trying to be more consistent with Monday live stream. So if there's a specific video or creator that you want me to go ahead and react to, let me know and I'll go ahead and react to that. Also, I'm always up for suggestions. So if there's a specific topic that you think that might be interesting for me to go ahead and talk about, let me know as well. But to end it off, I'll end it off the same way I always do. I'll leave you guys off with the podcast motto. Fellas out here, man, we don't just work around here, man. We outwork. So make sure y'all work with these motherfuckers because there's no other option. There's no other option, brother. Tap it with the next podcast on Thursday. Y'all have a good rest of your night. And like I mentioned, outwork these motherfuckers, man. That is going to be the greatest. That is going to be a thing that you must do that is going to help develop your character in a favorable